Hi, my name is Kevin and I collect old irons. We are coming to you today from my basement, a place where we do not generally have visitors. I am surrounded by books. In two previous videos, we have talked about some of the wide range of devices that are used to heat sat irons on stoves. One of these is the group of devices used to heat sat irons on wood or coal stoves. A second of these videos was on those devices used to heat sat irons on small kerosene stoves. But there is a third and even a fourth basic category for sat iron heating devices. One of these is a group of devices that use natural gas to heat sat irons, and then a fourth group are the laundry stoves. We will talk about each of these in due course. But today we're going to talk about the natural gas externally heated devices for irons. We have had two previous videos where we talked about the irons that were internally heated by natural gas. But there also were devices that externally heated more ordinary irons. By ordinary irons I mean either flat irons or the tailors sat irons such as what I have here. And the devices that we're talking about in this video are largely used by commercial laundry or tailor businesses. To begin, tailor shops were very abundant in the olden days. An urban area probably had a tailor shop every couple of blocks or so. I recently bought a small commercial broadside, sort of like the yellow pages of the day, that lists front and back 9 tailor or hatter shops in New Haven, Connecticut. And this is just the shops willing to advertise on this sheet. We will start with the largest natural gas powered device I have in my collection. This is marked the Eagle number 4. I have seen Eagles number 3s and number 2s. The numbers seem to refer to the number of irons incorporated in the design. These heated the large tailor irons, and this one is massively built. Shows a lot of details to it. It has ceramic knobs. It has a nice beaded decoration around the side, and I think such a device would be used in a fairly large tailor shop where maybe 2 people were working at the same time, one on the right, one on the left, presumably or hopefully one of them would be right-handed and the other left-handed. And over here we have another device. This one is marked I Block, New York, number 2. Again, the numbers seem to refer to the number of irons that are incorporated here. This one is relatively more simpler made, does not have the fancy knobs, does not have the fancy decorations around the edge, and I think this would be for a smaller shop. This could keep 3 irons in operation. That is to say that the person doing the ironing would be using 1 iron while 2 are heating, and then these things would be rotated through the process. Again, these are commercial devices used for very large irons. The people using these must have had incredible biceps, and the values on something like the 2 that we have in front of us are relatively modest. I bought this for $50 and this one for something more than $100. They are out there. There are not a lot of people collecting these. And here is a single tailor iron heater. This is marked in the front in large letters the Jewel, and then on the sides the George M. Clark and Company, Chicago. This is massively built, very large for a single iron heater, and includes a very large single iron. This particular iron I bought at the Mary Balestri auction at a PICA meeting in 2018, and it sold for $250, which was well more than I expected to be paying for it. But it does show that some of the larger nicely preserved, more unusual pieces do command higher prices. I was not the only person willing to pay more than $200 for this. But let's face it, tailor irons might have been overkill. The tailors, the launderers, could use smaller, more traditional flat irons as well. And the irons we're talking about here might have been used in domestic environments as well. What we have here are two devices from the same company. This is the Golden Gate number 2 here, number 1 there. These are made by the F.L. Kahns and Brothers, Hamilton, Ohio. And these were made in considerable numbers. This is a company that made a lot of these, values in the 50 to 100 perhaps or so. Here I have a third device, again a single iron unit. This one has no markings, very simple device designed to be wall mounted. We might at a later time talk about some of the ways of displaying the pieces in your collection. And let's just say a few words of this one, because this is one we can look at a little more closely. Since there is no top to it, there is the nozzle here, and just to remind ourselves, a hose would connect you to your gas tank. You would close this off, turn that on, open this, you light it, and you have a burner here, and that would heat your irons. You would have 2 irons. You would heat this one, be using this one with another one placed on top. Very simple devices, very often used. Of course, for all of the diversity among the American-made devices in this category, the variety is much larger if you want to look at the various devices that come from Europe. I have a couple to show here. The iron here is from Belgium. I bought this at the Carol Walker auction 15 years ago. I have always had an interest in the round-backed irons. I don't have very many. And this is a heater for a Belgian iron. You might notice that there's a latch in the front that very easily closes behind here. Very unusual device. And here we have a French-made iron. Let me pull the iron aside and take a look at the heating unit. Fairly well built, a lot of brass in the front, and on the inside there is a gravity powered switch. If I push this down, you can see that would fire this up. Presumably there would be a pilot light in here, and this would be in this configuration off, and I could merely turn it on by setting the iron in here. That would push the switch and turn this on, and then when I pull this off, it would automatically turn off again. By the way, if anybody's looking at this unit and says, gee, I'd like to get one of those, I have 2 of them. So if you're interested, just send me an email. And with that, we are done with this particular topic. We've got so much yet to explore.